G'day guys, it's Fish, the Beach Bum Investor. What I'd like to do for you today is just show you the maths behind Chaincoin again. And we've had a look at best case scenarios or optimistic scenarios. I'd like to have a look now at pessimistic scenarios or worst case scenarios, and why this shows that Chaincoin is still a great long-term hold. At least for people who are in this for the long term, and experienced investors know that if you can show good growth over a long-term period, that's what you're looking for. So what I'd like to do for you now is show people who did buy a full masternode on the big high, right up around $6,000 a node. I'd like to show you why I think if you've held your $6,000 worth of Chaincoin, that you're going to do very well in the long term, in 5 to 10 years time, and that's even if the coin, as I looked at it doing this maths, was around the $3 mark. I'm saying even if it halves from here and you bought it down to $1.50 a coin and you bought it at $6, you were still sitting pretty, and I'll show you why. If you bought it on that high, you invested $6,000 US. Now I'm guessing at the moment you would give the Chaincoin's up in a second for that amount. Don't, and this is why. How long are we going to need to see a return on our investment? Well, for starters, we need to have a look at how long is it going to take us to acquire the second node now. The price is halved, so we need twice as many coins to cover it in US dollars. Good thing is, you've got a node running now, and it's earning you, at the worst case scenario that I've seen, 1.66. So the other formulas I've done were based on 4, which I'm revising now because I believe that's too high. So let's go based on 1.66. How many days will it take you to acquire a second node? $1,000 divided by 1.66 comes to, just check the answer, sorry I'm not good enough to do that in my head, 602 days roughly. So okay, so you've got your node in 602 days, second node running, and that's that's not that long. That's two years. You've doubled your number of nodes. Now all that's done, if the price stays at $3, is bring you back to where you started. I mean, you haven't made any money. But what about if the price was to halve over this time and you go back to $1.50? Obviously you're going to have to collect more nodes, and this seems to be a problem because you seem to be chasing your tail. But you've got to remember exponential growth, which means every time you add another node to your node bank, if you like, you've gone from 1.66 a day to 3.32 a day. Now I just want to warn you that there is actually like a halving of how much you're going to earn on by running the node. I'm not 100% sure when that comes in, but I have actually taken that into account in the formula, and I'll explain why. Just let me bring up my spreadsheet here. But if you were to run the second node, presumably still at the rate of 1.66 CHCs per day per node, that's what you're earning for the second node duration. That would take you to your third node by day, let me just check here. It would take it by day 905. So by day 905 you're running your third node. So at day 905 we've moved to the third node. Now this is where I've decided that there'll be, this is one of the assumptions I've made in this formula. This is where I've decided it'll be the point where they actually start halving the amount of reward you get. So rather than adding on 4.98, which would be the 3 nodes now running at 1.66, I actually said, well, I'm going to assume that when that happens, I'm now going to get half for each node. So I'm going to add, when this happens, plus 2.49 CHC per day. Now if I run those numbers, That's for all three nodes combined. Obviously, at this stage, I'm just hodling. I'm just hodling away, hodling away, hodling away. I got my third node. At this stage, I'm still trying to get to a fourth node, so that I can get to 4 nodes running at a price point of $1.50 US, and then I'm back to my even 6 grand. So if I ran that third node, I'll just tell you I've done on a spreadsheet here. I'm going to get to the fourth node and be breaking even on day, I think it's, yeah, 1,000. Let's check that that's still in camera. 1,306 days. Okay, at 1,306 days, I retain my asset. I've recovered my investment and retained the asset. And not only retained the asset, I've actually increased the overall number of assets that I'm running. So if the price then increases from that point, I'm killing it, because I'm making more CHCs per day, and I just keep reinvesting the dividends. A lot of people got rich in the share market by, you know, if you started out with something, I'm sorry I'm using Australian companies as an example, but BHP Billiton or you know, Coles or Woolworths, so the bigger companies that own them, for the people in Australia that are familiar with that. If you just like bought shares 20 years ago and then just kept reinvesting the dividends each year, you would have accumulated a massive amount of wealth. Now, will that be the same with Chaincoin? I can't guarantee it, because I can't actually guarantee the future success of Chaincoin. That's not within my control. What I can do is work as hard as I can to keep showing you the figures that do make it work as a currency, and a currency that rewards the holders and people using it. So the way I'm saying people using it is, at least in the numismatics society, I actually have done a stint as a coin dealer, and I still have 5 tons. That's 5,000 kilograms. That's forgive me, I'm trying to do this on the run. It's over 10,000 pounds anyway. So I've got a lot of coins, a lot of collectible coins, and I plan to I sell them on eBay at the moment, but I plan to have a website open where the coins will actually be available for 30% less if you buy them with Chaincoin. So that's going to entice people to go and buy Chaincoin at market value, and then come back and spend it at my store so they can get their coins 30% cheaper. And for me, I'm paying 30% above market value, but I'm making the currency spendable. As soon as people send me that Chaincoin, I'm going to send them their real collectible coins. It's called numismatics, and they're going to have paid 30% under the valuation they could have got it on eBay. So I'm enticing people to actually start adopting this as a currency. Now, if you've got a small business and you think you can offer and you're a Chaincoin holder, and you think you can adapt that business to also accept Chaincoin, that's brilliant. We're actually enticing people to come and buy Chaincoin and use it as a currency. And if we get it accepted as a currency, guess where the share value goes? But even if it doesn't, like I said, even if it goes from $3, this is $3 current price, down to $1.50, and assuming that you bought it at the high, I almost swore, at the high of $6. I'm doing well. So even then, you're still going to be seeing a return on your money, 1,306 days. So that's under 4 years. And most people who are buying into a business will tell you that if you can pay off the asset and retain that asset within 4 years, that's excellent investing in business. So you make your own decisions. But to me, at $3, even if it was again, it's the same maths if you just scale it out. So if you bought today at $3 and it went down to 75 cents, you would still actually, as long as it held that value of 75 cents, you'd be able to cash out in 1,306 days with exactly the same amount of US dollars that you started with using this formula. So I just wanted to give a worst case scenario, because I do think it's important. And also, I just wanted to say to people leaving negative comments on the wall, I welcome it. The reality is that's how a market works. It's a constant argument over the price of something. So as long as it's researched, and as long as you don't personally attack, look, I can probably handle it myself. If you want to go nuts at me, that's fine. But none of my followers, please, don't. And the followers, please don't attack people leaving negative comments. So you're welcome to leave them, but as long as they're researched and they're bringing a balanced argument, because we'll agree sometimes, we won't agree sometimes. If you're just following every idea I put out there blindly, that's silly. I'm sorry. I've done my research. You need to go and back up my research with other people's research and your own research. So yeah, to the people leaving the negative comments, as long as they're not hurtful and designed to personally offend anyone, I actually welcome them, and especially if they're backed with research, which someone actually did this morning, and I congratulated him. I said, at least you're bringing me research, and you're bringing me an idea based on some facts rather than, oh, no, I just heard it's no good. That doesn't help me, sorry. I'm more researched than that, so unless you're bringing me additional information, I don't want to hear it. And if it's personally attacking myself, as I said, go for it. If it's my followers, though, I will get upset by that, and I don't know how to block people, but I'll block you if that happens. So take it easy, frothers. I'm going to hit the waves before the sun starts setting and the sharks start nibbling at my feet. Try and get in before dusk. Good surfing tip for you. And I'll catch up with you as soon as I can. I'm just trying to get my internet sped up so I can stream and get these videos loaded up a bit quicker, because at the moment I'm calling it news, but it's taking me about 3 hours to load onto YouTube. So I am sorry with that. That should be coming within a week. Alright, frothers, take it easy.